Hello, I'm Kyle Hannon, the world record holder in surviving the most chemotherapy and also the cancer patient with the largest arms in the world. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about diet. I'm going to share with what I've been doing with my diet and over many years of experimenting in different diets and training and goals, getting into bodybuilding, powerlifting, MMA, and everything. I was prepared to analyze different eating when I entered the whole chemotherapy and cancer battle in the last 10 years. So before cancer, I was able to learn a lot about diets and nutrition and eating and training, and during my battle with cancer, I've also been able to learn even more about it. I've been able to test different diets that actually work. I'm able to look at labs and see what works and what doesn't work, and I'm able to study the data of other cancer patients and talk to hematologists about what works for people when it's a life and death. Eating can be a life and death situation. So what I've discovered is that steak is awesome. One way, if you want to learn how to get in shape and to cut weight, you can always take my chemotherapy for me, and I've lost my taste and my sense of smell, and I have mouth sores and some nausea and stuff, and I had a cough. I've had a cough off and on the last couple weeks. Those things will get you to tend to not eat as much. That'll help you control your appetite real fast. But if you can't, I really recommend eating low carbohydrate diet. And if you want to eat steak or ground beef or turkey or salmon or the egg yolks, I'm not a fan of the egg whites, your sides can be more steak. Your sides can be something very healthy and low carb. Of course, we all know internally, and by now we know what carbohydrates are healthy and what aren't. But first of all, I will say that I respect all forms of eating. And in the Bible, it's very clear that we should not criticize or exclude others over what we're eating. So a person that decides they want to eat vegan shouldn't say, "Oh, you suck because you're eating meat diet," and a person that's eating meat diet shouldn't say, "Oh, the vegans suck because they're eating vegan." It was written a few thousand years ago about food. There's tons of wisdom in the Bible about eating, about nutrition, and things like that. And again, it's very clear that we are not to judge one another because there's many styles and different ways to eat. But I have found that eating protein is the building blocks of life. Steak and anything from a cow is going to be one of your best sources of protein. What I've also found is that there's people out there that says, meat is bad for you, it's going to give you cancer, carcinogens, and there's nothing good for you in there. Well, to them I say, I am living evidence that that is not true. And second is that I invite you to go look and see the nutrition profile, all of the minerals and the vitamins and macronutrients inside of steak or ground beef or something like that versus what you think is a superfood, what your favorite vegetable is. I think you'll find that a food like steak holds more minerals and vitamins than any vegetable on the planet. I challenge somebody to find a fruit or vegetable that could show me as much benefits in terms of vitamins and minerals out there. You won't find it. I recommend not to fill yourself up with a bunch of other sides. I reduce my carbs. I think if you want to get in shape, no matter what your goal is, if you want to live healthier, you got to eat less carbs. Proverbs 23:2 says, "Bridle your appetite." The bridle is the piece of equipment that goes over the horse's head that helps you keep control of the horse. So you want to keep control of your eating. That's one of the most important things. Sometimes, like today, we're eating a little bit of spinach, and I may have a little bit of corn, but mainly it's because I've had trouble keeping my weight up lately and due to some things that I've been battling. But I try to reduce my breads as much as I can. During each week, though, I don't call it a cheat meal. I just kind of plan my carbohydrates. I don't just completely cut out carbohydrates. You can stay in ketosis, in fact, by still enjoying some carbohydrates. In Ecclesiastes, it says, "With all the toils and the hard times and the stress of life, learn how to eat, drink, and be merry." Now, it's also not to just eat unhealthy and just eat, drink, and be merry and go into gluttony, but there is a time. It's very important for us to eat, drink, and be merry. So I try to make sure that I have those times. And one thing that I love to eat every week is Wild Mike's Pizza. Wild Mike's Pizza is a frozen pizza. It's my favorite pizza. I've been eating it for years. Over time, I've learned about their company's ins and out. We've been able to take tours there, and they have the freshest ingredients. And I know that I can trust that pizza is a really pure source. I can make it at home, and I can make sure that it's safe. I tend not to order pizza from outside because I don't want to compromise my immune system. And it's hard for me to trust. And I like pizza at home because I can build it up myself. I'll put steak on top of it or chicken, and we'll get all fun with it. Put mushrooms and season it and tons of cheese on top. And I just love it. So highly recommend the Wild Mike's Pizza. And I've been able to stay even in ketosis by having a couple slices of Wild Mike's Pizza. I hear a lot of complaints and negativity about eating steak, for example. Oh, it's gonna fill me up too much, and I'm gonna feel like crap afterwards, and it's too much food on me, and gross, To that I say, okay, I will not criticize you or judge you. You do your food, and I'm going to enjoy the benefits of my food here. And I will also say, I might investigate during the day, if you're feeling that way when you eat steak, what is your carbohydrate intake? More times than not, the person that is saying that is eating little bits of sugar and carbohydrates throughout the day. So when they add something that their body really needs, protein is going to be the most sustaining food, the most healthiest food, and the ones that fulfill our appetite the best. So that person generally has probably thinks that they have to snack every so often and eat little carbohydrates and little bits of food here and there. So I challenge you to fast or to not eat carbohydrates, and for a few days try to eat some meat. And you won't know until you try it. See how you feel. Track. I invite everybody, I really encourage you, as I did. There's all these diets out there. They say, eat this, don't eat that, follow this diet. Here's the new fad, here's the new plan. Join Weight Watchers, pay a bunch of money. Here's the tip, somebody's gonna manage this and that. Well, I can say to you, you won't know if a certain way of eating truly works unless you try it and you track it. Track it versus your eating before. Track your labs. Go get your labs done. Eat a certain way for a month and look at your labs, and eat another way for a month and track your labs. Write down, keep track of it each day. How does your body feel? What does your body look like? Take pictures. These are the things that I've done even through the darkest times, before I had cancer and during when I had cancer, when the times were the roughest and the darkest. So you can do it. You can get a bridle on your eating. You can take control. You can counter gluttony, which is addiction to food, where you have no control over the food. The food becomes an idol. You can counter it. The root of gluttony is pride. So the Bible says the best way to break the pride associated with gluttony is to fast. Fasting, it says again and again, humbles us. Fasting draws us closer to God. Fasting draws us better focused on our goals that we have ahead. So if you can learn how to fast, you will humble yourself and thus break the pride that is attached to gluttony and your addiction and your idolization of foods. So I kind of bounced around here. I'm giving tips here and there. In 1 Corinthians 10:25, it says, eat anything fresh sold at the meat market. There is nothing anymore that we need to abstain from. It says eat anything fresh from the meat market, as long as it wasn't sacrificed to demons or it's not fresh or something like that. But it's very clear. It says again and again that there is no food that we shouldn't eat that's a meat. If anything is out there and it was produced on earth, whether it's grains, veggies, fruits, meats, or whatever, we will use our own healthy discretion to eat, and we won't judge somebody else for it. Even if somebody falls into gluttony, we don't say, oh, they suck because they're fat now because they've lost control of their eating. Instead, we feel sad. We empathize with them. And here's what I did to get healthier. And this is a way that you can break that addiction, because mostly people that have that kind of addiction and gluttony, they have an inner conversation going on often that says they feel terrible about themselves. They feel like losers, that they can't. It's an up and down thing. They eat to satisfy themselves temporarily, and then they're left with emptiness and depression, and their minds just beat themselves up over and over again. I feel horrible for that person. I've tasted elements of that area myself, and that is an area I don't want anybody to have to go through. And I don't want to be a jerk to tell them no, and I don't want to criticize them, but I also want to, in love, say, here's something that can help you. Here is what has worked. I'm here for you anytime, and if anybody needs prayer over eating problems, or if they would like help from me, I would love to help you. Ask me questions, send me a private message. I'm here for you. I'd love to help you anytime. Some people have said that pork is a very unhealthy animal to eat, and we shouldn't eat that animal, and there's videos out there that say, the pig is this and that. Well, there's also a lot of data out there that shows that pork has many health benefits, vitamins and minerals, as other meats, and has an alternative area in terms of minerals, vitamins, and macronutrients that the body needs. And another area too I will talk about is the vegan diet. For example, there's the Daniel diet that is out there that is a fruit and vegetable diet. That diet is not one that works for me. I'm not a fan of that diet. Vegan diets, to me, I'm not a fan of either. I've tried that extensively. I've tried those diets, and especially for a cancer patient that has immune system issues, those diets can be very dangerous. In fact, I ended up in the hospital when I was juicing, and I was juicing different fruits and vegetables, and the bacteria from there was horrible to my body and ended up causing a massive infection, and I went septic. I've tried again to go vegan in a more safe way by cooking the vegetables. I've tried to eat fruits and vegetables diets, and every time I've tested my labs and I've tracked how I felt and my output, and each time I was way worse off than before. So that, I don't think that's going to be the case for everyone. Maybe if you're a female that runs marathons, for example, maybe you can find a way to make the vegan diet work for you. Again, like the Bible says, if somebody wants to be vegan or if they want to eat meat, go for it. And I know I'm quoting the Bible a lot, but I love it because it was written a few thousand years ago, and these truths and this wisdom really applies to people today and to our world today. It is the first time in history that we have recorded that these things are written on nutrition and diet and gluttony and fasting. It's all in the Bible. So whether you believe in it or not, it's components that are truths today and hold truth, and I've experienced in my own life as truths in terms of eating and diet. You have one video made where the guy ate McDonald's for 30 days and he tested his labs and everything was terrible. Well, you have another video that came out not long ago, I forget the guy's name, Cole something, that is awesome because he ate McDonald's for the 30 days, and after his labs are actually better and he was healthier. I guess my point there is that it's very easy to make a video, a propaganda video, to convince people of a certain truth. But we need to look at what actually really works. And to do that, we need to test it ourselves. We need to make sure that we are tracking what we're doing for our own bodies. We need to make sure that we get the advice of people that have been doing this for a long time and have evidence and have seen the data. We need to make sure that that person isn't trying to spread something for a certain agenda to make money, because if you think about it, there's many people out there that want to sell a certain way of eating or a certain diet so that they can make money. So we have to be very careful about that. In Romans 14:6, it says, give thanks always to what we eat. We should always be grateful that we have food. That's one nice thing about fasting. It makes us really become grateful when we do have the food we eat. It humbles us, takes our pride away, so that we can utilize our eating and make sure that we're making wise choices, and we have a bridle over our eating so that we have control over our eating. We are the ones that are in charge of the food. The food does not take charge over us. And if you need help with that, definitely I'd be here to help you. You can also call on God to help you. If you don't believe, that's okay. I respect freedom to believe. I respect all beliefs out there that are peaceful. But you can call on God. If you believe in God, if God of the Bible, you can call on God and ask Him to help you direct. I'll tell you right now, Lord, I just help us, all of us right now. Just let us have wisdom, and let us learn, and let us see clearly what your way is for the best way to eat. Let us not take ourselves down a path that is destructive in terms of eating. Let us follow a path in eating that grows and builds, and thus we can eat, drink, and be merry alongside exercise, and we can do these things together, and we can build love, and we can grow closer to you. In Jesus' praise. All right, guys, let's eat. Raw meat, delicious. There's some people out there that eat raw meat. I'm not going that area. Well, enjoy eating. Let's drink, eat, and be merry together. And thank you so much for watching. Let's build our bodies together with good nutrition. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.